Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, a few things have obviously changed. I got new glasses. I let you had I known it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice the punches left to roll it. You got to get it done. Looks different, but I had recorded a bunch of videos like a few days before I got my hair done, and anyways I was editing and it just like the videos just weren't working. There was just too much going on. So if you are new here, hello, my name is Janessa. Thank you for clicking on this video or checking out my channel in general. I am a lifestyle, health and fitness mom vlogger. I just talk about my life and share my health and fitness journey, my struggles with that, because I like food, my struggles with that, where I want to be with that, and then just how motherhood's going because I currently have a 7-month-old. If you are not new here, thank you so much for all your support, for liking, subscribing, watching all my videos. It just means so much to me, so just thank you. So today's video is going to be about another video for What No One Tells You, my little series that I decided I was going to start. So I thought I would talk about what nobody tells you, but it's more, instead of like what nobody tells you, it's more of what I wish I would have known. So it's kind of like in that category. So it's what nobody tells you / what I wish I would have known before going into an unmedicated labor. So if you are someone who's been following me or knows me and is now checking into my channel, I knew kind of around like the 33 weeks, 36 week era there, that there was definitely no way I'd be able to get an epidural. I have a bleeding issue. I do not remember the name of it, but basically what it is only half of my platelets are firing. So your platelets are what make you clot, and you have like thousands, bajillions of them, and you need them all to clot, but only about half of mine actually do the job, and the rest are just duds, just chilling out. And so when I get like a deep cut or deep laceration, I do not clot very easily. I have medication that I have to take in order to get everything working, so I do clot. Little cuts and scrapes, like a nick with my razor, actually, instead of taking like a few minutes, it takes quite a bit. I'd say probably an hour after my shower before it stops bleeding. So it does take me a long time, so I have to kind of be careful with that stuff. But anyways, I knew going into having our son, that I would not be able to get an epidural. It was not an option with my bleeding issue. It was too big of a risk. And a lot of the pain medication was too big of a risk with my bleeding issue. So I really only had a couple options depending on who my doctor was while I was giving labor, or in labor, what they were more comfortable with. I also knew that gas or anything like that would be off the table because of COVID, so my options were limited. So basically I was warned going into having our son that it would be a 100% no drug labor. So I did everything I could to prepare, but you really can't prepare yourself. I just want to point out before I get into this video to just kind of touch on a little bit that there is no wrong way to have a baby. So I'm not saying the way I did it was the only way or the right way or the best way. Whatever works for you in your particular situation at that particular moment is what's right. You know yourself better than anybody, and you know what's right for you. So there is no right or wrong way to have a baby. I think every single woman is strong. Just don't take this as like there are right or wrong ways. I'm not trying to say that. Okay, so number 1 is counter pressure. Yes, let me tell you, during our like prep, there was like labor courses we took online, and I really don't feel like they gave you it wasn't the full experience, right? So I really feel like it didn't cover everything we wanted it to cover, but counter pressure was mentioned on there, and I knew I wanted to do a lot of research on it, and I did. But when it got into the actual thing, the actual labor, it's like Bryce and I totally forgot about it. We practiced it at home, places to push and how hard and stuff like that, but we did not remember anything going into our labor. Pressure is actually a huge saver when your wave of your contraction starts going up, right? When you start to feel it coming on, getting that counter pressure in the right spots really can do wonders for your pain level and for how you handle that contraction. It kind of can take off that initial oof of the wave going up or spiking, however you want to say it, so that you can get yourself into grips and handle your contraction a lot better. Like I said, Bryce and I totally forgot about counter pressure when it came to labor. Thank God our nurse was heaven sent. When it came to counter pressure, she showed Bryce all the places to push, but he wasn't pushing hard enough, and I think he didn't want to hurt me, and so our nurse took over and she pushed as hard as I needed, as long as I needed. She was really amazing, and I highly encourage anybody to look up all the counter pressure points during labor to hit, and to practice, and to even maybe tell your nurse about it, or your birthing partner to remember about it. Like I said, Bryce and I forgot, so it's only natural to forget, but it really is a lifesaver. Mine, for me in particular, there's counter pressure points on your feet and on your hands and in your back, but mine was in my lower back down here, kind of like by your butt there's two little dimples. That was actually the best place for me when I was in labor with Bentley. Oh my goodness, she literally took her fist, she showed me afterwards, and Bryce showed me too, but she took her fist like this and just rotated it into those little circles. I tell you, I had bruises, but I didn't feel nothing. It just took that weight, the rise of the wave off for me, and it did wonders. So definitely look into that if you're thinking about trying to go without any pain medication. Number 2 is your birth partner is definitely your most important person in the room. Yes, your nurses, of course, and your doctors are important, but your birth partner is the most important person in your room. I've said it a million times in other videos, and I will keep saying it. I would not have gotten through labor if it weren't for Bryce. He was non-stop supportive. At times it was I needed to support him, which helped me. It distracted me from what was going on so I could focus on him, but he was just so encouraging. He was so supportive. He knew what I needed. He knew when I had had enough. There was a point when I was in transition during my labor, and fentanyl was an option for me, and it was little to known to us of how far dilated I was. I had been 5 for so long, and I was at the point where I was being so stubborn. I was I'm not gonna ask, but you guys, I was dying in pain. I'm not trying to scare anybody, okay? Labor is definitely the most painful thing I've ever been through, the most painful thing I think you've ever gone through. For me, at one point in my life, I thought my tattoo on my ribs was one of the most painful things. No, definitely labor is painful. I've heard people say that it's not as bad as what they thought. For me, it was as bad as I thought, but it was such a magical and beautiful experience that I would definitely do it a million times over. Women were crazy, but just having somebody in the room who knows you. So Bryce knew when I got to that certain point, she had given me the option of fentanyl, and I kept saying no and pushing it off. And finally, I just got to a point where I couldn't speak anymore. I wasn't responding to anybody, and Bryce looked at her and he's just listen, she needs it. Give it to her. Yes. And she gave me such a low dose, and again, I did a whole full story, like my birth story. So definitely go to that if you're wondering like how that whole experience went. Let me tell you, it didn't last long. But anyways, just having your birth partner who knows you well enough, like Bryce knew. Once I got to that point where I wasn't answering, you know, I was in so much pain. I was just, he just knew the look on my face, the way I was I was done. Like I couldn't keep going. So just having that person who really, really, really knows you is so, so important. Another thing with your birth partner, whoever you choose to have in your room, I mean, when it came to my labor, we were only allowed one person. So I only had Bryce, and in my particular situation, it probably wouldn't have made a difference if there were no COVID. It probably would have just been Bryce and I. The more I think about it, sometimes I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I would have had other things. But anyways, with your birth partner, make sure you go over your birth plan. Like Bryce and I had the birth plan pretty much down to a T. He knew exactly what I wanted, what we had talked about. He would recite it to me going into our labor. But when it got to it, if I got to the point where like I couldn't speak, I knew if I talked, I would lose my focus. So I just kind of shut down. He knew, okay, this is what she wants in this situation. This is what, you know, this is when she's done, etc., etc. So your birth partner is your most valuable asset because they can advocate for you when you can't advocate for yourself. They can advocate for you when nobody's listening. They can help push if no one's taking you seriously enough. When your baby comes, if no one's respecting the things that you're wanting, they can also, you know, help push and help defend you, help fight for you. So it's very important to have that birth person, your birth partner, and make sure that they understand where you are and what you're wanting. So make a safe word. Number 3 is make a safe word. Yes, okay. I did not have a safe word because, like I said, I knew I couldn't get the epidural. I do have a few friends I talked to about the epidural, first-time moms, and a couple of people who aren't first-time moms I talked to. They said it was really, really important to have a safe word. So I thought I would include this. So this is like not my opinion, just something I'm adding in there from people who have had the epidural, is have a safe word and only use a safe word when you are not going through a contraction. So whatever you want your safe word to be, make sure, like I said, your birthing partner knows this, and do not decide, you know, say your safe word is bananas. Do not say bananas when you're going through a contraction. Make sure you've got your head and your bearings straight, because as much as you think now, or you think, you know, my head is straight, during a contraction, you're not thinking clearly. You are thinking about the pain. You are thinking about how to manage it and how to breathe through it, how to get through it. So make sure that, you know, it's important if epidural is on the table for you, if it's an option for you, if it's something that you're like, you know what, I want to try it this way, but I'm not taking it off the table, which is how I was before I knew I couldn't have it. Just make that safe word and make sure you do not use it during a contraction. Number 4 is, remember going into this, the things that you think are going to work for you might not always work for you. So when you go into labor, everything changes. Like for me, when I'm in pain, if I can keep moving, keep my mind busy from something else, that really helps me. When it came to my labor, keeping my mind busy definitely did help, but not moving around during some of my contractions actually did nothing. If anything, it made it worse because, you know, my legs were trembling and I wasn't as strong and I didn't have the best balance. And so when you're in labor, just remember that the things you're prepping for or the things you want to work don't always work. I really, really wanted to do hypnobirthing. I studied it, I read it, I listened to it. Did not work. Okay, that didn't help me at all. I did have a tub at the beginning before my contractions got really, really, really bad. It didn't make a difference to me. It didn't really help. I mean, it felt nice, but it didn't really help with the contractions like I had heard and read and listened that it would. So just remember that it might not work for you, and don't get discouraged. Just try something else. And those labor nurses, they have tons of options. So definitely give all the options that they give you a try. The birthing ball, I was keen on the birthing ball. I wanted to do the birthing ball. I hated the birthing ball when it came to labor. I thought it made my labor a million times more painful. Well, not my labor. It made my contractions worse than when I was just doing things without it. So that was me. But I was keen on the birthing ball. I remember telling my nurse, like, I want the birthing ball. I want the birthing ball. I want the birthing ball. And yeah, it just, for me, it didn't work. So you just got to remember during labor, just roll with the punches. Don't get upset because it didn't work. Just know that, you know, right now it's not working. Let's try something else. So keep an open mind. Number 5 is hot and cold. Okay, this one surprised me a lot. I anticipated during labor that I would be hot. I would just be a sweaty, disgusting, hot mess because you're in a lot of pain and, you know, your body is dilating and you're getting ready to push a human out. So I thought I was just going to be a sweaty, disgusting mess. During a contraction, yes, I was sweaty. I was gross. I was, on fire during contractions, and afterwards I would be freezing. I asked for a warm blanket, like a blanket out of the warmer, I think 4 or 5 times. And I remember actually during my labor, she just got it on me and I was like laying there just shivering. And Bryce was like rubbing my arms and like, you know, trying to warm me up, and they had the blankets, like the sheet or whatever, up to here, and I was just freezing. She had these warming blankets on me and it felt so nice, and my contraction came on and I was like, get this off of me, get it off of me, I'm so hot, oh my god. And then I'd have an ice cold cloth on my head, and then, you know, everything would settle down. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so cold again. It surprised me, you know, your body just like all of a sudden is freezing, and you'd think your body would just like level out and not be sweaty and disgusting, but mine did not. So that really surprised me during my labor, how much the hot and cold flashes would come. And then for me, like if you watch my birth video or my birth vlog, my birthing story, towards the end I never really got a break during contractions. So I was just a sweaty, gross mess the whole time. But anyways, number 6 is how close nonstop contractions will be. So leading into from 5 to 6 here, my anticipation. Okay, so what I thought my contractions would be, you know, you got breaks, and you watch birthing vlogs and you think, oh, they get breaks. It kind of seems like they get a decent amount of a break. They get to catch their breath. They get to rest, stuff like that. For me in particular, I was induced. So I was warned as I was getting induced by my nurse, this is going to suck. It's going to be worse than natural birth. It's not going to be like if it was natural, because we are forcing your body now. We are forcing your body to do this. Luckily for me, I was already having contractions that were registering on the monitor. They just weren't really doing anything. So anyways, I was induced. So my contractions went from like not bad to super intense, super duper fast. It went like 0 to 100 really quick. And during my transition, I went from 5 centimeters to 8.5 in an hour, in under an hour. And then I went from 8.5 to fully dilated in like 20 minutes. So in that time span there, I had no break. I literally had no break during contractions. I think like I had fentanyl in there too, but I had no breaks. It was like the wave would come up and kind of go down and come up, and then it would like go down, and I'd be like, okay, and up, down, down, and like that. So I really never got enough of a break to be like, okay, and like be my laughy, jokey self. There was a point I had a contraction. I went to the bathroom, and the doctor and his resident had come in, and I was standing holding onto the bed having my contraction. And afterwards I'm like, okay, I need a Kleenex. And everybody burst out laughing. You know, I was just like cracking jokes in between my contractions, and you know, they went to check me, and his resident, like my doctor at the time, his student doctor, she checked me, and I was cracking jokes and everything, contraction painful. And afterwards I was like, oh, that's probably, you know, whatever. But I was very surprised, for me in particular. Like she said, she did say that's typical with being induced, but my contractions, I had no break. It was just so up and down, and I literally felt like I was never getting a break. Like I couldn't catch my breath in between. Okay, so I kind of got cut off when I was making my video last night. But anyways, I'm going to finish. It's like a 2-day process sometimes. Little mister is playing. My next tip is your breathing. So breathing is actually super duper important to get through labor, quite honestly. Like I heard it was, I had read it was, I had listened to videos it was, but I really didn't, I don't think, grasp the concept of how seriously important it was during labor to get my breathing down pat. It helped so much when I could feel a contraction coming on and I took deep breaths, just like, and really like it kind of grounds you and gets your mind to focus. It's just like it does a whole lot when you don't think it does. It also helped me so I wasn't so tense and tight the whole time. You want to say hi? Okay. Say hi. Somebody's pulling himself up now. Lots. He's very full of energy. But breathing is actually super important. It helps you not get lightheaded or dizzy. It helps your body relax enough to dilate, and it also helps you not tense up. So if you can just remember to take those deep breaths when that wave comes up for that contraction and just get your bearings, and then you keep breathing throughout the contraction, it really does help, because the more you tense and the more you scream during a contraction, the harder those contractions are. I personally know this because for the beginning, when it got really, really bad, I just lost my motivation, I lost all my bearings, I lost everything, and I just was screaming and hollering and tightening up, and it made my contractions way worse than when my nurse kind of snapped in my face. It was breathe, deep breaths right now. So he's just I'm trying to record a video. You don't care. So it really, really helped. It helped me relax my body, helped my body dilate, it helped me loosen up, and it helped those contractions not be as bad. I mean, you still feel them, obviously, but it helped them not be as bad. My next tip is going to be a positive mindset. So a positive mindset and having things to say to yourself is kind of the same thing, really, I find. I know I've watched a few videos before I had Bentley where they were talking about the things they wish they would have known, and those were two different things, but for me they're the same thing. I gathered a lot of things to say to myself that were positive things. The biggest thing I found that helped me is my body knows what it's doing. Just relax and let it open up, let it dilate. And I just said that to myself over and over, in my head, just relax, while focusing on my breathing. So I was breathing and telling myself these things, relax, let your body open and dilate. You can do this. Your body's made to do this. Another thing I would say is that, I'm strong. We were made to do this. Women are made to do this. I can do this. I can pull through. Don't give up yet. You're stronger than this. And then I also had Bryce. Bryce was, like I said, Bryce was so supportive and had so many wonderful, encouraging things to say. So that really helped too. But having things to say to yourself that are going to be your pusher, they're going to really help you push through, that was so important for me. Every time I said it, it was just I reset myself. I was powering through. It was it was a reset. Or when you're working out and you have that one song that comes on and you just go crazy when that song comes on. That was what those sayings did for me during labor. And last but not least, I'm gonna make it quick because somebody is just in a mood today. Is definitely how different you will feel. I know I kind of touched on this in the beginning, but this is definitely my last thing that I wish I would have known, is how different you feel. You feel so strong, so empowered, so different. So your motherhood instinct is there, obviously, while you're pregnant.
But when you have your child, it's just like a whole new sense of everything. Like it's like you have this sense of calm and this new sense of patience, and you're so strong and you feel like you can take on the world. Like nothing that ever comes at you now matters, because you know you can make it through it. You made it through this, you made it through what they say is the hardest thing, and you just know you can keep going. You know you will make it through anything, and you have a whole new purpose in life too, which is your new little one. So just like a lot of people say, it's crazy labor and it's awful and it's terrible and yada yada yada, and it can be, absolutely, but the way you feel afterwards is just a way I've never felt before, and it has not gone away. So those are my tips, things I wish I would have known, somebody would have told me before going into an unmedicated natural labor for myself. They probably would have helped. Like I said, a few of them I did know about before, I had done research about, but once I got in there, they were totally gone. A good thing is like talking to your nurse while you're still in early labor and going over this stuff with your birthing partner when you're actually in early labor too, so that they don't kind of panic like we did and forget all about the things that we were going to do during labor. And that's really all I have for you guys. So much for watching, for clicking to watch this. I appreciate all of you so much. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up / like button if you like this video, like what you see on my channel in general. And hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video, my most recently updated video. My child is making, he just likes to crawl all over me these days. And yeah, I hope you guys are all staying healthy and safe and enjoying the weather, because where I live, it is turning into summer now, thank goodness. Well, it's like spring, but it's getting warm and it's beautiful. So I hope you all are enjoying that. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.